There are about 1261 different laws in India the last time we counted, and you are expected to know all of them. It is up to you to learn them, to know them, and to adhere to each of them. There is a Latin maxim, and it goes like this: ignorantia legis neminem excusat. In Latin, it means ignorance of law excuses no one. Whether you know the law or not, you cannot break any of them. Most of our legal principles were first written in Latin. No wonder law is all Greek and Latin to us. Not anymore. Nitya's Indian Law Radar presents Lawman to Layman. Every episode to educate you. Law need not be Greek and Latin anymore. We will present it to you in English and sometimes in Hindi and Tamil and Gujarati as the occasion demands. Did you know there are clearly well-defined guidelines pertaining to several things that affect your life? Guidelines related to arresting women or not arresting them. Guidelines related to FIRs, to RTIs. Do you know what happens when you're arrested? Do you know where you're taken? Do you even know what is a bail? These are some of the things that you should know. There is no excuse not to know them. You spend some time of your day or week learning about your sun sign, which may or may not actually happen. But laws, they will happen. If you break a law, the consequence will follow. You should also be vigilant about your rights. And what's the best part about this program? It's free. You're not paying anything. Totally free. You have to just come, switch on your computer, plug the internet on and watch us. Not knowing your laws is not only not an excuse, it can also be very expensive. These and other important laws, such as what is an FIR, what is an RTI, and what is Article 226. Do you know what is an Article 226? You should. It is the essence of Constitution of India. It is the very essence of your life in a democratic country. You know a lot about your sun signs. You spend some time every day knowing what is your sun sign prediction. You spend a lot of time in front of TVs to watch your favorite serials. And you spend a lot of time knowing what is happening in the lives of those actors and actresses. Spend some time to know your laws. This is free. Watch us for free. Not knowing your laws can be expensive. In every episode, you will learn about one major issue that may be affecting you, is definitely affecting many other people, and the solution to that issue. And 2, you will learn about 10 different questions and answers in a sort of FAQ format, wherein we present 10 questions regarding legal aspects of your life and the answers to those questions. We are now going to tell you about those 10 questions that can affect you, and 10 important questions and their answers. We'll choose some of those questions from our last issue of Nitya's Indian Law Radar. These questions appeared in our last issue. You can go to www.lawradar.com, LAWRADAR.com, and you'll see the magazine there, so also the questions. The question is it a crime to be a prostitute in India? Well, and the answer is, there is ambiguity. This whole thing is ambiguous. To put it in short, in prostitution, let me touch what clearly is a crime. Being a pimp is a crime. Procuring and trafficking is clearly a crime. There is no doubts about it, and the Act clearly defines it to be so. Being a prostitute, this is a grey area, because in real practice they are supposed to be victims, they are treated as victims and sent for rehabilitation. But the code also says that a prostitute caught seducing or soliciting, especially in a public area, is liable to be imprisoned as a form of punishment. Being a client is also actually a crime. If you are seen engaging a pimp or engaging in a sexual act within a public area, within 200 yards of a public area, it is still a crime. All in all, suffice it to say, don't go near a prostitute. That's the best advice I can give you. Having said that, if you're a prostitute who's been exploited and who's being held against your wish, it's not a crime. You are a victim and you will be rehabilitated. And as for other watchers, being a pimp is a crime and frequenting a prostitute is not good, so I'm going to call it a crime. Here's another good question, again from our March issue of Nitya's Indian Law Radar. You're sleeping in your house. You wake up and find robbers, dacoits inside your house. What can you do? What is the extent to which you can go? And here is the answer. You can go to any extent to defend your life, the lives of your family members, and even your own property. Any extent means absolutely any extent, including taking the lives of these intruders. Bear in mind, you can do anything as long as they are on your property. If they've already robbed and if they're on their way down, you cannot chase them and kill them. So, well, do whatever it is within the confines of your property. As soon as they leave the property, you have to contact the nearest police station. You cannot chase them and catch them and beat them up and tie them to a lamppost, and you cannot do all of that. Well, one more question. You have rented your flat, shop, office to a tenant. Any of these. He or she refuses to vacate after the tenure of agreement. What is it that you can do? And here is the answer. Let me begin with what you cannot do. You cannot throw this person out by force. Forget it. Just don't do it. It's not valid in law. You cannot even go to the police department actually, because they cannot help you much. The tenant is supposed to be in possession of the property, and you must resort to legal means, which is only through a court of law. The law, the act which will help you to get possession back is called the Specific Relief Act. Very important question if you have adolescents, teenagers in your house. Your 16-year-old son is in trouble, or daughter. He is picked up by a police officer who is threatening now to arrest him with regards to a crime he is suspected to be involved in. What should you do? And here is the answer. There is a very clear law that deals with children up to the age of 18, and this, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, is governed by the Juvenile Justice Act. A 16, a 15, a 14-year-old boy or girl cannot be held in police custody, cannot be arrested by a police officer. There is a very separate mechanism to deal with them, and that mechanism is now appearing on the screen, which you can refer to for further details. But the answer is no, the police officer can do nothing, he cannot arrest him. This is an important question for all those people who intend to travel to United States, and this answer has been provided by Advocate Purvi Chotani, who is an immigration expert. The question is, my travel agent has offered to help me fill in the US visa application form DS-160 and book an appointment for me. Do you see any problems with this? Question asked by a Tushar from Mumbai. And the answer is that the US government has introduced a new version of DS-160. That's a new form. And it mentions very categorically the applicant and no one else must sign the form. That's very clearly mentioned. And when you hit the submit application button, it appears that the person who is applying for the visa must himself or herself do it and cannot now be done by a travel agent. So the answer is that you cannot use the services of a travel agent to fill this particular form. It's better that you do it yourself.